Welcome to the deep dive. All right, today we're diving into something pretty unique, looking at a stack of sources that map out, well, a really unexpected success story in the whole digital asset space. We're talking about WEN coin. And this isn't just about, token prices going up. Our mission here is to unpack how we went from this really quirky digital thing, born from a poem, believe it or not, into a massive global cultural brand backed by actual corporate deals.
Yeah, it's a fascinating journey. It's like they compress the usual timeline for building a brand into hyperspeed. Our sources really laid out how this digital idea, fueled by community and, let's be honest, the internet's love for cats, managed to snag traditional media deals and retail success in less than 2 years. It's kind of a blueprint for how culture moves now.
Okay, let's definitely unpack this. A poem. We have to start there, right? Because that origin is just wild. So WN launches on Solana. Okay, standard enough. But its origin was fractionalizing a digital poem. An NFT poem gets chopped up into a currency. How does that even work? How does poetry lead to a market phenomenon?
Well, that high concept start is really, really foundational to their whole brand, their early story. Yes, it's technically a meme coin. The value comes from culture, community hype. But the way they did it, fractionalizing digital art, it immediately made them feel different. Less like just another meme and more like, we collectively own this piece of internet culture. Gave it a bit more weight, maybe?
And they had to prove themselves within Solana, too, right? They weren't the first big project there. You had Bonk, the dog coin, Pengu, Penguin one.
Exactly. They definitely watched those guys, learned what worked, and Wentz deliberately picked a different lane. The internet's cutest cat. That cat theme is just universally appealing, right? Maybe safer, broader than some specific niche memes. But the tech launch, that was critical for credibility right out of the gate. Wampu was the very first token launched using the Jupiter Launchpad.
Okay, first on Jupiter. Why was that such a big deal beyond just being first? Did it guarantee something, like better visibility or performance than if they'd just launched on their own?
That's a really key point. See, the launch wasn't just about when. It was basically Jupiter saying, okay, world, watch this. It was a massive stress test for Jupiter's whole platform and its infrastructure. So when it went smoothly, it wasn't just WEN looking good. It was immediate validation for Jupiter, too. It showed they could handle a huge high-volume launch without a hitch. That instantly put WEN on a different level than projects launching on less proven platforms.
But the real genius, looking at this data, seems to be how they distributed it. This wasn't some quiet pre-sale for insiders. The sources emphasize fairness.
Oh, absolutely. That's where they laid the groundwork for this sort of democratic feel. The distribution was enormous and designed to be equitable. It created network effects instantly. They sent tokens equally to over 1 million wallets. Just think about the scale of that for a second.
1 million wallets, right at the start. That's almost unheard of for a launch distribution.
It's pretty brilliant, strategically and, you could argue, ethically, too. From a market perspective, spreading it that thin across 1 million holders, that immediately tackles the whale risk. You don't have a few big players who can easily dump the price or manipulate things. It takes way more coordination, way more capital. But beyond that, it created this sort of PR shield almost, maybe even a subtle legal one.
A legal shield. How do you mean?
Well, think about it. When ownership is that spread out globally across so many individuals, it becomes really hard for regulators to step in and say, aha, this is a security controlled by a small group or a company. It screamed decentralization from day one. It built this incredible trust and loyalty within the community because everyone felt they got a fair shot. It wasn't just giving out tokens. It was like writing a fairness principle into their code. And that really paved the way for everything else.
Okay, so that structural fairness gave them the momentum. Let's track this chronologically then, because this is where the poem idea starts morphing into actual corporate deals, and it happens fast.
The speed is kind of dizzying, yeah. So January 2024, that's the launch. The digital poem gets tokenized into just a massive number, 1 trillion pieces, and like we said, a huge chunk. 70% of the total supply goes out to over 1 million wallets. That commitment to community ownership, right there in the numbers, really cemented their structure.
So early 2024, they've got the tech, the community, the market structure seems solid. What was the first real test? How did they try to turn that online buzz into something tangible, something you could hold.
Right. They needed to prove it wasn't just internet money. So first half of 2024, they dipped their toes into physical merchandise. The goal wasn't just selling stuff. It was proving the brand had a real world pull. So May 2024, they announced a partnership with Toymac 3Rs, the plan. Official WEN cat plush toys.
Yeah.
This was a really smart move, a focused test case. Can our digital cat sell actual toys?
And the results, because those results probably became pretty important leverage later on, right?
Crucial leverage. The sources are clear. All 3 different designs of the plush toys. They sold out quickly. And that wasn't just a feel-good story. It was hard data. It proved definitively to anyone they might talk to later, retailers, licensing people, media companies, that WN's huge online community would actually spend money on WEN stuff. Real physical stuff. That data, that became their calling card.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. Because going from selling out plush toys to landing deals with massive global IP giants, that's a huge leap. How did selling toys help them get in the door, say, for those November 2024 talks?
That toy data was the missing link, the bridge that most meme coins never build. When WN's team walked into those meetings later in 2024, they weren't just some cat meme from the internet. They were a proven retail brand with validated consumer demand. So late 2024, the rumors start swirling. Then, bang, November 2024, the confirmation comes from Jupiter's founder, Meow. WEN is planning projects with Warner Bros.
Hold on. Warner Bros. The poem coin, the cat meme, is suddenly doing deals alongside Batman, Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
How does that pitch meeting even happen? What do you even say?
You start with the 1,000,000 wallets, the sellout plushies, the 5 million social followers we'll get to later. You show them the engaged global audience. But yeah, the prestige jump is immense. We're talking about developing projects connected to icons like Batman, Flash, Bugs Bunny, Tom and Jerry. This wasn't just licensing a logo. It signaled WEN was being integrated into the traditional media world. Actually, it's an unprecedented leap for something born out of crypto culture. It shows Warner Bros. Saw something more than a fad. They saw a potentially viable long-term IP with a huge built-in audience.
And it wasn't just a one-off deal. That IP push really gained steam in 2025, focusing on actually creating content.
Exactly. They didn't just sit on the Warner Bros. Announcement. By mid-2025, they locked in another key collaboration, this time with Elevate Pictures. The strategy here was clear. Move beyond just merchandise or basic tie-ins into actual storytelling. Expand the WN universe with professional animation, comics, cartoons, stuff that keeps the IP alive and generates ongoing revenue.
And Elevate Pictures, they bring some serious weight, right? Ensures quality and reach.
Absolutely. The sources really highlight Elevate's track record. They worked with the big leagues, Disney, Netflix, and yes, Warner Bros. Again. Having them involved basically guarantees these UEN projects will be done to a global standard. That means better market penetration, more reliability. It's a signal that this isn't just fan-made stuff. It's professional, scalable media production.
Okay, so by summer 2025, they've nailed physical retail, they've got top-tier media IP deals cooking, and the community's still strong. This seems like the moment they needed to consolidate, maybe build more institutional trust.
That consolidation phase was vital to keep the momentum going, yeah. The brand kept pushing into the physical world. Summer 2025, you see the licensing engine fire up again. Toymac 3RS partners with Adidas. Another big name, another product line. Getting Adidas on board signals WEN is moving into that premium retail, even fashion space, not just specialty toy stores anymore.
But beyond products, what about the token itself? Min coins are notoriously volatile. Did they do anything to stabilize the financial side, make it more palatable for bigger players?
That was a crucial piece. They specifically sought out collaborations with major institutional market makers. The name mentioned is Wintermute. These partnerships are like the financial scaffolding. Wintermute provides liquidity, depth to the trading. It means if a big institution or even one of their corporate partners needs to buy or sell a large amount of WN, the market can handle it without huge price swings. It's about securing its place in the serious financial world.
And then the Solana ecosystem itself gives them a nod. In September 2025.
Yep. The final piece of validation, in a way. They received Solana Foundation grants and team sponsorship. That's basically the mothership saying, okay, WEN isn't just a tenant in our ecosystem. They're a valuable contributor, technologically and culturally. It confirms the whole evolution from meme to credible corporate player with recognized value.
What's so wild is they built this whole corporate structure, these big deals, while running this incredibly efficient, almost free digital marketing engine in the background. Let's spend some real time on that section C, the cultural engine, the community, the social media reach. How does that work?
Right. WEN's digital game is, well, it's a masterclass in grabbing cultural attention without breaking the bank. Their official X account, Twitter, it's solid, 152,000 followers, respectable. But that's just the official front door. The real power, according to these sources, comes from controlling popular social channels that aren't explicitly crypto channels.
Ah, you mean those massive cat accounts, at should've-cat and at post-soft-cats? How did they get control of those, and why? What's the strategic play there?
That's the secret sauce in their marketing. They didn't build these huge followings from scratch. They strategically acquired control of these pre-existing cultural hubs. Think of it like buying established media channels. As of October 2025, you combine the followers of those two accounts. You're reaching over 5 million people globally.
5 million people who already just like looking at cats online.
Mhm.
Wow, that's an instant, perfectly targeted audience.
Precisely. And here's the analysis. This gives, one, a cost-free, organic, continuous global marketing channel. They don't need to spend millions on ads that people skip anyway. They just weave one UN content, maybe a picture of the Adidas shoe, a teaser for the cartoon, a community update naturally into the feed of cute cat pictures people are already scrolling through. It bypasses ad fatigue. It keeps the brand visible constantly, effortlessly all over the world without a huge marketing spend. Genius, really.
That explains the incredible reach. But is it just passive scrolling, or is there real commitment behind those numbers? What about the community depth?
You can verify the commitment on the blockchain, which is key. It's not just likes. They have over 223,000 on-chain token holders. That number represents people who've actually put skin in the game, bought the token, committed capital because they believe in the project, not just followed an account.
And that engagement isn't just on Twitter, right? It's spread out.
Yeah, it's diverse. Strong, active communities humming along on Discord, Telegram, Reddit. Those are crucial for that day-to-day discussion. Loyalty building, local buzz. But they're also looking ahead, strategically targeting the next wave of users.
Who are they trying to bring in for the future?
The focus is squarely on younger users, that 1834 demographic. They're leveraging content creators on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube platforms where that age group lives. These creators are pushing WEN-themed content, driving adoption among people who grew up online, who get internet culture intuitively. It's about building momentum for the long haul, ensuring WN stays relevant as user bases shift.
It really is this integrated machine, isn't it? The cultural reach feeds the corporate deals. The deals give the community something to buzz about.
Okay, but we need to check under the hood. Section D, on-chain analysis, market structure. How healthy is the actual token market after all this explosive growth?
This part confirms that they stuck to their guns, basically. Those fair launch principles they've held. The token distribution is still described as broad and fair. Critically, the majority of the circulating supply is still held by the community, not concentrated in a few hands. That keeps minimizing centralization risks and reinforces that democratic vibe.
And for partners like Wintermute or even potential future big investors, they need to see activity, right? Proof that people are actually trading this thing. Exactly. Liquidity and volume are key metrics. The sources confirm consistently high trading volumes across both centralized exchanges, think platforms like KuCoin or Gate.io, and decentralized ones, like Jupiter on Solana itself. High volume on both CEX and DX shows broad market interest, from smaller retail traders to potentially larger players. It means the market is deep enough to handle trades without collapsing.
Let's drill down on those market makers again, like Wintermute. Why exactly are they so vital for stability, especially for a token with meme origins?
They're like the shock absorbers for the market. Institutional market makers provide huge pools of liquidity by constantly placing buy and sell orders at different price levels. So if a massive buy order or a sudden sell-off happens, Wintermute's orders are there to absorb the pressure, preventing the price from instantly crashing or skyrocketing. They narrow the spread between buying and selling prices. For an asset aiming for a billion-dollar valuation, that kind of stability is absolutely non-negotiable. It signals maturity.
And getting listed on major global exchanges helps too, just making it easier for people everywhere to buy in.
Oh, definitely. Accessibility is huge. The script specifically mentions listings on big CEXs like Gate.io and KuCoin, plus obviously its native presence on Solana TXs. This ensures WEN isn't just stuck in one corner of the crypto world. People globally who maybe only use the big, familiar exchanges can easily trade it. Broad access is key for growth.
Okay, we've got the culture, the corporate backing, the market seems solid, which brings us neatly to Section E, market position and future projections. What's the snapshot right now, October 2025?
The snapshot is momentum, strong momentum. As of October 2025, the price is hovering around 0.0000033 USD. But based on the pipeline, the IP deals, the partnership's analysts are projecting a pretty aggressive short-term target. They're looking at potentially hitting 0.00001 USD by the end of November 2025. That reflects serious confidence in what's coming next.
But the big one, the headline goal, is that $1 billion market cap target for 2026. That's a different league altogether. How do they justify aiming that high? What needs to happen?
Yeah, $1 billion, that's the psychological and financial amount they're aiming for. Reaching that isn't just about hype. It relies on three core value multipliers that tie the token back to concrete, real-world business activity.
Okay, multiplier number one, the IP projects.
Right. First, the continued growth, and crucially, the successful execution of those IP projects. The cartoons, the comics, the animations coming out of the Elevate Pictures and Warner Bros. Deals. These are vital because they take Do You way beyond the crypto niche. They introduce the brand to millions, maybe billions of people globally who don't care about blockchain, but might love a cute cat story. That constantly refreshes the brand and drives demand for everything else WEN-related. It's the long-tail revenue stream.
Multiplier two, the licensed products, basically more stuff to sell.
Essentially, yes. The second driver is just expanding that licensed product empire. More Adidas stuff, new Todo MX3 RS lines, potentially other partnerships in different categories. This whole licensing strategy turns WEN's cultural clout into predictable real-world cash flow. That provides a financial floor, a stability that, frankly, most meme coins utterly lack.
And the third multiplier listed here sounds more technical. Corporate adoption of the WNS standard. We need to unpack that. What is WNS and how does that drive value?
This one was really interesting because it points towards actual utility. The sources mention WNS standard adoption. Now, digging into the context, WNS likely stands for something like WEN naming service or maybe WEN native standard. Think of it as some kind of protocol built on Solana, possibly related to WEN, designed to make things easier for businesses, maybe standardizing digital asset metadata, linking physical goods to digital twins, or creating unique blockchain-based names or registries. If other corporations start using this WNS standard for their own operations, maybe managing their own IP rights, tracking supply chains, branding digital assets, it creates systemic demand for the WEN token itself, potentially as gas to use the service or for governance over the standard.
Ah, okay. So WNS adoption isn't just about the one cat brand. It's about the underlying WEN technology potentially becoming useful infrastructure for other companies on Solana.
Precisely. It embeds WEN into the operational fabric of other businesses. That gives the token a value proposition completely separate from the cat meme hype. That kind of real technical utility is exactly what you need to underpin a stable long-term valuation aiming for that billion-dollar mark.
So, wow. We started with a poem fractionally owned online, and now we're talking Adidas collabs, Warner Bros. Cartoons, institutional market makers, and a potential utility protocol. It really feels like the digital cat clawed its way into the mainstream, just doing everything normal brands do, but way faster.
It's an incredible case study in convergence, isn't it? High-speed digital community building meets surprisingly traditional corporate execution. WEN definitely learned from the Solana pioneers like Bonk and Pengu, built on their foundation. But they carved out something totally unique by pairing that universally lovable cat theme with really savvy mainstream corporate partnerships and a seriously aggressive IP strategy.
It's got to be one of the most dramatic transformation stories we've seen in this space.
Absolutely. They successfully navigated the journey from being just another volatile meme coin to becoming a recognized, legitimate global cultural brand. And that's not just talk. It's backed up by the physical products selling out, the major media deals in the works with credible partners, and that deep community trust they built right at the start with the fair launch.
And in doing all that, WN seems to have cemented a real, maybe even permanent role within the Solana ecosystem itself. It's not just a token, it's seen as a valuable part of the network's future.
Yeah, their approach, fractionalizing that initial NFT, the speed of the corporate deals, controlling those massive organic marketing channels, it really leaves a mark. They've established a corporate reputation within the ecosystem.
It's still kind of mind-bending to think that the value unlocked from chopping up a digital poem can now be seen in millions of plush toys sold or cartoons being developed by Warner Bros. It really makes you question what value even means anymore in this digital age.
If we try and connect this to the bigger picture, EDN is almost the perfect, if slightly absurd, example. It forces you to ask that fundamental question. Can a truly decentralized project, built on radical fairness and community ownership from day one, actually be the strongest foundation for building a massive, global, and lasting licensing business? Ultimately, its long-term success, hitting that billion-dollar goal and staying there, it all hinges on one thing. Can the revenue and brand power from the licensing side, the toys, the Adidas gear, the Warner Bros. Content consistently outgrow and stabilize the inherent volatility that just comes with the meme coin label? If they pull that off, WEN isn't just a brand anymore. It's potentially a new kind of IP-driven licensing empire.
A question that only time and maybe a whole lot of animated cat adventures will ultimately answer. Thanks for walking us through that absolutely phenomenal and, yeah, kind of absurd journey of oneness.
My pleasure. It's definitely one to watch.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive.